Today on the Topping Show, JK Rowling goes viral in her response to the Supreme Court ruling that trans individuals are not a protected class. A majority of Americans are in support of deporting all illegal aliens. Karmelo Anthony's mother breaks down in tears during a press conference. Hyundai is bringing back more physical buttons to their cars. And a power bank is being recalled due to a risk of fire. All of that and much more on the Topping Show. Thank you everyone for taking the time to tune in today. Today's episode of the Topping Show is proudly sponsored by Topping Technologies. Topping Technologies is an IT value-added reseller and services company with a special proficiency IT security. Heck, I see their founder at least twice a day. Guys, he's quite handsome and brilliant. He's me, see, that's a joke. If you're an IT leader or a business owner, you can reach out to the team at sales@toppingtechnologies.com. Also, still giving away a free Flamethrower with every IT purchase with Picatinny rail adapter, so you can mount it to any standard AR-15, like all awesome accessories can be. Go to toppingtechnologies.com and click the Flamethrower button to learn more and see me shooting a flamethrower, or click the URL in the video description below. Lastly, trying to get to 5,000 subscribers by the end of the month, so if you can click that button and tell your friends, I would greatly appreciate it. Now going over to the business part of the podcast, you have some great news. Hyundai is bringing back more buttons and less pain-in-the-rear touchscreens. Now this comes to us thanks to Motor1.com and harks on one of the trends that I hate the most in cars these days, which is the plethora of buttons that are not buttons, but rather screen pressing buttons, not actually tactile physical buttons, which also known as trash. The one thing I do not love about my 2018 Honda Civic Si with the stick shift is the fact that there's no there's no actual button for the radio power or for the radio volume adjustment. It's a scroll bar, also known as trash. Thankfully, there's a steering wheel handle button, an actual button they can press to increase volume, but the backlash is so loud that Honda did listen to the 2019 model year Honda Civic Si, does have a volume knob to actually crank up that volume easily, and you don't have to scroll with that pain in the ass scrolling bar that works about 23% of the time. It's one of my biggest pet peeves. I do love that the Honda Civic Si, and I know it's about Hyundai, but talking about me for a New York minute here, it does have physical buttons also for the heated seats, which is perhaps one of the only modern luxuries I love, though Cadillac did patent it over 50 years ago. But you have a lot of these car companies that are putting, I would argue, the most essential things, or rather the things that you are most likely to interact with the most inside stupid pain-in-the-rear infotainment systems. I think the worst offender is Dodge, where they had the heated seats and volume in a subscreen. So you have to click the screen multiple times if you want to increase the volume or increase the heat of your boudoir or bustier, however you pronounce the derriere. There's a fancy term for the buttocks, but it eludes me at the moment. Now, specifically Hyundai, they're starting to listen to the consumers, thankfully. This is again brought to us thanks to Motor1.com. And specifically the writer over there, Chris Perkins, and he says, quote, Hyundai, we want more buttons in your car. Hyundai's design head, Sangdeep Lee, believes that the design is about helping people, so he's firmly against haptic pads taking over the car interiors. And, oh, that's beautiful. Physical buttons. Like the 90s. Okay, it's not, it hasn't been that long since they've been trying to throw them away, but again, that's what you want. I want a physical button for the hazards, the volume, the power, climate control. That's nice. That's easy. That's simple. That's what people want. And thankfully, they're starting to listen. Now, they say, quote, Sangdeep Lee, head of the Hyundai and Genesis Design, knows the difference between a designer and a stylist. The latter puts a hat on the work of engineers, while the former thinks about how a product is going to be used. It's aesthetic, yes, but also functionality, which is why he's a big believer of real buttons in car interiors. Finally. He says, quote, design is for helping others, I strongly believe. He says in New York Auto Show interview, haptic are cool, but it's not about helping people, unquote. Now they say, quote, we're sitting in the interior of the newly revealed 2026 Palisade, and while there's a screen for secondary HVAC controls, there are knobs for temperature and shortcut buttons for many infotainment functions and vehicle functions for driver modes. The steering wheel has real buttons, and there are real buttons for the mirror controls, too. Lee is also quite proud of the leading edge of the center console, which is shaped into a pad to resist your hand while operating the switches, which, let's scroll down here really quick. Yeah. Kind of interesting. Now, he continues saying, quote, now here you can see the front of, well, again, not much. Oh, that's such a monstrosity of an SUV. Granted, I'm not really an SUV guy. All my vehicles are cars with stick shifts, but I know there's a market for everything. Now, again, that grill is about the size of a GMC, or I'm trying to think of what's a big monstrosity. Well, a GMC. Now he says, "quote The idea is that you don't have to fit your shoulder to change any lift your shoulder to change any settings, and more importantly, you can do so while keeping your eye on the road. There are other thoughtful touches too." Lee points out that many cars now have panoramic gauge clusters, and infotainment screens integrated into a panel that says "proud" on the dashboard. And Pal said they're under a trim piece, so they're not affected by glare. Pretty good idea too. Lee says, quote, "It's important because the car is for the family. We really study what you do with the family. You pick the kids up from school, all the activities, and we designed based on the consumer lifestyle. It has to be easy to drive. The car should not be complicated," unquote. The usability also affects the exterior design too. As Lee told us before, the traditional two-box SUV shape helps maximize interior space, but the design team did subtle things like playing with the tumble home, the curvature of the windows, to free up headroom, something you do not see unless Lee points it out, but something you appreciate regardless, which, I mean, again, I think this design, the exterior of this vehicle just it looks abhorrently disgusting. Dare I say almost as bad as a Jaguar concept car? I don't know. It's up there, but maybe it grows on you. It's like the 80s kind of with the retro look, maybe? I mean, not for me, but, obviously I'm not the target audience for this. Now they say, quote, "It's a refreshing approach and a good reminder that great designers aren't concerned only about how things look." Previously, Lee told Motor One about a conversation he had with the car design icon, Giorgetto Giuliano. Lee asked the maestro to name his favorite of his designs, figuring he would say the Lotus Esprit or something else spectacular and sporty. Giuliano surprised Lee by picking the original Fiat Panda, really, because it was one that he felt had the biggest impact on how people lived. And speaking to Lee briefly, we could only tell the impact that lesson had on him, and so Hyundai is a design leader in every sense, not just aesthetics. Which, yeah, Hyundai is probably one of the best brands in terms of improvements throughout the past 20, 30 years. I mean, they were the butt of most automotive jokes, even less reliable than a Ford for many years. I think the best joke would be Jay Leno comparing the reliability of a Hyundai being like a bobsled going down a hill. The bobsled would be more reliable getting down the hill, was the joke. Which, yeah, obviously I failed in attempting to say that joke, but nevertheless, it's the thing where their reliability has come a long way, the build quality, everything. They still have the best warranty, bar none. I believe it's still 5-year, or no, 10-year, is it 10-year, 50,000 mile powertrain warranty? I mean, or is it 10-year, 100,000? It is literally the best in the industry. It has been for over a decade, which is really good for marketing and reliability. They'll take care of you if things goes wrong. So it's nice to see physical buttons coming back. I hope more corporate companies take onto this trend of usability, not just, it seems like a lot of these companies, and again, it's not like there's one that's worse than the others necessarily, but they seem to just think about what's the coolest stuff we can do from a tech perspective, not what's the most user intuitive things and what's the most convenient things for the consumer. I feel like a lot of them forget about that in terms of they just want more shiny things. And let me know, do you love having everything into a single infotainment thing like a Tesla where you have to, smash 50 buttons just to heat your seat? Or do you like actual physical tactile buttons? Let me know your thoughts, because as always, be fascinated to hear what you have to say. Now, going over to the Cultural Pod podcast, you have Karmelo Anthony's mother breaking down in tears in a interview. Now, this is the mother of the alleged individual who stabbed another student over a sports ball seat using a knife that he brought, which has been one of the top controversies in the United States, fascinatingly enough. And again, this one clip got over 1.7 million views and 71,000 likes, which is, as you might say, extremely viral. Now, this is originally posted to us thanks to Colin Rugg on X. And he says, quote, "Just in, Karmelo Anthony's mother breaks down in tears as she unlashes on critics, painting Anthony family as the victims." I think they've got over $500,000 donated to them thus far. But yeah, they're victims, of course. He says, he just reads her quotes, so I'll just let her say it. And of course, she looks comical in this screenshot, or, well, that's any video, though. You could always find, an unsavory screenshot if you just pause the video at an awkward part, though you could argue some have a high propensity of that than others, including me. So without too much further ado, maybe she'll give us some very articulate reasons why her alleged, murder of her son is actually a good person. He was a good boy, they say. Probably not, but let's go ahead and we'll dive on in.
In wake of this tragic incident, our family has been under attack. Whatever you think what happened between Karmelo and the Metcalf boys, my 3 younger children, my husband, and I didn't do anything to deserve to be threatened, harassed.
True, except, allegedly raised a child so poorly he killed someone. But again, it's not appropriate. Yeah, you should not be harassing these people.
And lied about. The lies and false accusations that have been said about us, especially over the past week, has been overwhelming. The lies and their amplification put my family in danger, as well as everyone in our community, everyone involved in the investigation, from the police, the attorneys, and the court staff. Our address and my husband's previous employer's address has been put on all social media platforms.
Oh, that's a rare thing for someone to happen on the left. It usually only happens to be on the right. That is interesting, culturally speaking.
My husband had to take a leave of...
And dead. And again, no one should ever be dead named, or, no, not dead named, you lose me at the moment, just one of those brain fart types of days, but you shouldn't be leaking someone's address, I don't think.
Absence, because he's afraid what may happen to our family. His mental health is deteriorating day by day. We have endured death threats. My 13-year-old daughter is afraid to sleep in her own bedroom because she's fearful of what may happen to her.
Again, statistically speaking, you'll probably be safe in terms of people on the right, as this has devolved into a political issue. Many people are saying they really, on average, don't do much. They might make fun of your social media. I'll give you that.
And let me be clear.
And again, should have her family should receive 0 violence, obviously.
Clear. The claims that were used about the public donation to buy a home or anything else are completely false.
Oh.
We have not received a single dime from the Give, Send, Go fundraiser.
That actually is true. They canceled that. So I believe it got up to like $500,000. It got up there. Give, Send, Go. Interestingly enough, they took it down. I was shocked. Usually Give, Send, Go is all about, supporting certain things. But no, in this case, Give, Send, Go actually did take it down. I was pretty surprised.
And the co-founder has stated that clearly. In the reality, we were just notified yesterday that we could begin to withdraw funds.
Oh, wait, they got funds? I thought you just said you didn't get funds. Wait a minute.
And it still takes several days to receive those funds once the request is made. I don't know why we are being targeted and discriminated against before a fair trial. Our son deserves the same rights under the law that everyone is afforded to. He's been raised in a 2-parent home.
That is very statistically rare. Usually, if you look at who causes crime in terms of, crime and cultural decay and people who have issues growing up, especially young men, usually the absent father, I'd say, is present, or rather, that situation is present, the father's not. But yeah, I would say in terms of culturally speaking, what's the biggest issue in the United States these days, or one of them is single-parent households, especially, parents without, households without a father there. Interestingly enough, both his parents were there now. Again, I'm looking at GoFundMe, I'm using Grok, the AI from Twitter. They said it got up to $450,000 before it was canceled for the GoFundMe. And perhaps she has a different fundraising mechanism. But it's kind of funny. She said, "Oh yeah, we've got no money. We're about to withdraw the money." Wait, what?
With structure, stability, love, and we put God first in everything that we do.
Now, granted, I'm definitely not the best Catholic out there. I was raised Catholic. I read the parts of the book. I did read, the book has 10 simple rules, and they are very hard to follow. Don't get me wrong. I'm not going to preach about religion, but I did read that book, mostly. And yeah, the rule does say something. Oh yeah, do not kill. And again, still innocent until proven guilty. We'll see what happens in court in terms of, different circumstances. But, yeah.
We believe in the Constitution. We believe in the laws of this state. But those laws must apply to all of us, not just some of us. To be clear, we will not speak publicly about specific details of what happened under the tent on that rainy and awful day. There's an active investigation that everyone involved wants to be full and fair. We believe in legal process, and that is where the truth will come out. To the family who experienced the loss, truly goes out to you. To those who have supported my family, thank you from the bottom of our hearts. We ask for your continued support, patience, and prayers as we navigate this difficult process.
Crocodile tears are real. Let me know in the comments. Fascinating she spends a majority of the time complaining about her family. I mean, again, I'm not in her situation, obviously. Can't but think, in this situation, what would she be most concerned about? Probably the future of her son. I'm surprised that wasn't the main focus of her speech, but nevertheless, and again, her family should not be getting attacked, obviously. And this went pretty viral, of course, got 1.7 million views and 7.3 thousand likes. Now, one of the first comments comes to us thanks to Joseph D. Bartillo, saying, quote, anyone else buying this shite gained 3,000 likes, which is quite a few to say the least. Gmeo says, quote, I can feel her pain. She has to live with the trauma of her son for the rest of her life. No mother should have to deal with this. Getting 148 likes, which, yeah, now this person, as the youth might say, is ratioed beyond all belief. Colin Rugg replied, saying, quote, she has to live with the trauma of how she couldn't teach her son child impulse control. It's really sad. Getting 4,000 likes, which, yeah. It's one of those things where impulse control is a rare thing. An invaluable lesson. Life, I was going to say, literally life and death lesson. Jeremy Beckham says, quote, are they still selling merch? These guys are hardly victims of anything. Stop excusing your kids to take weapons to the track meet, cash their checks, their kids going in prison, getting 3,000 likes. Now, Colin responded saying, quote, it's unclear if they're the ones selling them. However, it should be, quote unquote, is being, quote unquote, promoted by a relative who has been pictured wearing one of the shirts next to Karmelo, getting 1,000 likes. Tommy Lairn, I believe I'm pronouncing her name correctly, says, quote, imagine how the Metcalf family feels. The actual victims getting 6.5 thousand likes. Yeah, I can't imagine the family, they lost their son, and one of the sons of the family also lost his twin, too. Colin Rugg responded saying, quote, yeah, it's been infuriating, especially after you tried virtue signaling by saying that you felt bad for Anthony's family hours after your son was after your son was getting 1.2 thousand likes. And he says it's just crazy how people can rewrite history to fit their narrative, getting 972 likes. Now, Colin Rugg says the Anthony family is winning the media game. The Metcalf family tried playing it nice by saying that they felt bad for Karmelo's family, and this is how they're treated. I'm sure they regret that one. Yeah, that was a poor move. Getting 1.5 thousand likes, which, yeah, imagine someone kills your family member and you're saying, sometimes turning the other cheek or being the bigger person isn't rewarded culturally in the United States, unfortunately. And Gunther Eagleman simply says, FYI, Karmelo is not a victim, getting 4.5 thousand likes. Paul Zupa says, no wonder Karmelo turned out so poorly. Look at his deranged mother, getting 481 likes. Cynthia Holt says, quote, as a kid is dead because of her son. They have no remorse. We know exactly what they're trying to do. Every news conference is carefully crafted to fit and paint Karmelo as a victim before the trial. It's effing disgusting and sick, getting 1.5 thousand likes. True. Buzz Patterson says, quote, her son killed a kid and now they're personally profiting. That's abhorrent, getting 1.2 thousand likes. And A+ for using a good word. That's a great Scrabble word, abhorrent. Not used enough. Maybe I need to use that more often and maybe button the top button and class it up a little bit. You have Julia Mariano saying, quote, put God first. What happened to thou shalt not murder? Talk about the gaslighting game, 1.1 thousand likes. Yep. Junita Broderick says, quote, total shit. Do a better job raising your kids, getting 2.3 thousand likes, which, yeah. I mean, that's probably the bare minimum to teach your kids don't, kill. You also have Foul Max saying, quote, how about teaching your children not to stab and kill people? That is a parenting issue. Getting 384 likes. Let's see. Mr. Pitbull, though I don't think it's a rapper, unless he has a disproportionate amount of free time on his hands these days, saying, quote, what hypocrisy. It says bail for Derek Chauvin got $1 million. It says restraining a suspect who is high on drugs, $1 million. Then bail for Karmelo says bail $250,000, stabbing a teen to death at a track meet, getting 567 likes, which Karmelo's bail was set $1 million before the the Obama-appointed judge dropped it down to $250,000. Scrolling down more and more, not seeing any contrarian comments thus far. Law of Self-Defense said, quote, did she leave out the part where her son put a knife into a child's heart? Getting 515 likes. Let's see here. A couple AI-generated images of Karmelo Anthony being a homeless person with a victim card poster board, getting 22 to 50 likes. A lot of people highlighting the part of the Bible, obviously the Ten Commandments, that says, you shall not, or, Oh, they rewrote. Oh, it's more modern vernacular, but as it was written was thou, which sounds fancier. Thou shalt not kill. Getting 154 likes. Scrolling down more and more. Let's see here. Genie View says it's pretty sickening that your son stabbed another human being to death. Scum people, 25 years is too lenient. Getting 139 to make 140 likes. Rolling down more and more. Borasi Moment says his life matters. There's a picture of Austin getting 231 likes. Let's see. I'm not seeing any contrarian comments thus far. And yeah, this is, in terms of the trial, I suspect it'll be pretty straightforward. But in terms of the cultural igniting of emotions and going viral, this is, again, one of the top trials going on these days. It'll be interesting to see what the outcome is, or how the judge rules. But let your thoughts, guys. As always, be fascinated here what you have to say. Now, going over to the political part podcast, you have JK Rowling on the Supreme Court ruling that men and women are, in fact, real things, and trans individuals are not protected. Now, I'll go ahead and, before I get to her meme, I'll read the summary of the situation. This is summarized thanks to Grok, which is X Twitter's AI, says, quote, JK Rowling is celebrating a recent UK Supreme Court ruling on April 16th, 2025, which determined that the terms of woman and sex in the Equality Act of 2010 refer strictly to biological sex, excluding transgender women from the legal definition of a woman. This decision, following a 7-year legal battle led by the Gender Critical Group for Women for Scotland, which Rowling financially supported with a £70,000, pretty sure it's shilling, I forgot what they use in the Harry Potter universe, donation, seen by Rowling and other gender critical activists as a victory for protecting women's rights, particularly in maintaining single spaces for men and women like toilets and changing rooms. Rowling expressed her joy on social media, posting a picture of her. I was going to say, let's get to that fun picture here. JK Rowling literally says, quote, I love it when a plan comes together. Hashtag Supreme Court, hashtag women's rights. And this picture of her literally just smoking a cigar with what is that? I guess it's fancy. So cognac or some type of liqueur. And I don't know if that's also a parody of the A-Team. I love it when a plan comes together. Maybe she gets some bonus points for that. And this went ridiculously viral, getting 34 million views and 356,000 likes. And interestingly enough, mixed comments. So a couple of I was going to say contrarian comments, but I think it's almost equal for and against her. Now, one of the first comments comes from Joe, who I'm pretty sure I follow her. She's mostly mentally vacuous, but she's a radical leftist, so I follow her so I get some contrarian comments. Like it's a little bit boring if you're in an echo chamber. Now, Joe says, and Joe's a woman, which nowadays you have to clarify. What does that really mean? Well, it means they were actually born a woman. Now, Joe says, quote, you destroyed your entire legacy for what? Hate, intolerance, bigotry, division? What a effing shame. Mentally vacuous statement. However, it got, 11,000 likes? Really? I'm going to double check, make sure my eyesight isn't that bad. No, it really is 11,000 likes. Elon Musk simply has the flame emoji getting 12,000 likes. Anti-woke memes, A+ for marketing, they did in fact respond in meme form. Says, quote, it's funny how it works. And it's a picture of a woman. It says, quote, it's funny how there are only 2 options for gender reassignment surgery, male and female, getting 1.9 thousand likes. So the Spaceman Cometh says, quote, can you cancel Black Snape now, getting 23,000 likes, which I don't think she's in charge of that production, but yeah, of course is it Netflix is doing that? But yeah, of course they would do that. Keith says, quote, oh, Keith, Irish flag emoji? I thought those guys usually had intelligence and huevos. Nevertheless, Keith says, quote, imagine behaving like such a miserable, well, this isn't a swear in the UK, but in the US, we don't say the C word, or gentlemen do not. I'm debatably a gentleman, so I'll abbreviate it. Imagine being such a miserable C word that you're celebrating human beings having their rights taken away for simply existing, getting 941 likes. Yeah, how dare JK Rowling get excited that men can't burst into women's washing rooms and changing rooms? How dare she be happy about that? Salty Texan. Good. I was going to say. Hashtag Texas MAGA. Oh, I'll follow her. Although I'm a little disappointed she does not, in fact, have a picture of her holding salt as a profile picture. But no marketing is perfect. Now, she simply has a post that says trans women are, says real women, and just crossed out says insane men, getting 778 likes. Steve dares to say Harry Potter's most overrated series in history, getting 254 likes. Community notes, false. It's one of the best series, not just I mean, just physically speaking, even if you don't like the books, it is one of the most beloved series out there. Since JK Rowling has gotten into politics and cultural hot topics, there's been some people that have turned away from it. But I mean, who didn't read those books growing up or listen to the audiobooks brilliantly, I would say, spoken by Jim Dale, one of the best voice actors or audiobook individuals, bar none. He did all the voices perfectly. As a kid, that was one of the best audiobooks out there. Again, little ADHD shout out. I mean, he's doing well enough. He doesn't need a shout out. But yeah, Jim Dale reading the Harry Potter series is ridiculously good. You also have Mr. Bombastic, which A+ for a cool word, says, quote, "You're turning into a real life version of Dolores Umbridge, getting 13,000 likes." A lot of people not happy here. Mia Skylar says, quote, "You will be studied as a villain in history books," getting 2.1 thousand likes. I don't know about that. I don't think so. Oil London says, "Well done for everything you're doing for women," getting 1,000 likes. Paul Zupa says, "Congratulations for you and all UK women," getting 354 likes. Casey William changed he turned JK Rowling into a meme, and he added the text on the picture says, "They see me rolling, they hatin'." Getting 8.7 thousand likes and an A+ for a word pun because his name is Rowling, and he's like rolling. You get it? Yeah. You also have Mr. Pitbull saying, quote, "Let me get this straight. Women's rights groups stay silent when biological men compete against women in sports. Jewish women were taken advantage of in the worst way by Hamas. Trafficked women were assaulted by an open southern border. Pregnant women were forced to choose between their jobs and a jab that went debatable side effects. We'll see if this gets taken off of the YouTube. So I should always watch on the Rumble." He's got 854 likes. Nicole Mariano says, quote, "Being a good writer does not make them human values God. Your demonstration getting 2.4 thousand likes." Verbal Riot says, "Now about that Black Snape," getting 5.3 thousand likes. Scrolling down more and more. Comment says, Todd said, "Hey Stella, care to comment?" And Stella Creasy says, quote, "J.K. Rowling is a woman. A woman is wrong. A woman can have a penis if she asks nicely." And 201 likes and showing you the madness of leftist. American 357, one of the best cartridges. Though you could debate God's cartridge, the 45 ACP is king. I mean, back-to-back World War victories, hard to debate that. But nevertheless, he has a picture of the Dr. Seuss book that's been altered to say, "Dr. Seuss, if you're born with a dick, you're not a chick." Getting 577 likes. You also have Take Down MRA saying, "You'll die alone." Really? "You'll die alone, unloved. Your legacy destroyed," getting 8.6 thousand likes. Really? Interesting. You also have June Graham says, "You are pathetic and living in disgrace. It's sad for the people who grew up with your books," getting 1.1 thousand likes. Let's see. A lot of people comparing her to Cruella de Vil with that pose. A lot of people doing the, oh, this one's good. They say, it's got a picture of J.K. Rowling. Says, "They see me rolling, they them hating." Getting 956 likes. Luke Brian Urzo says, quote, "J.K. Rowling channeling John Hannibal Smith was not on my bingo card for today. Love it." And it's the A team says, "I love it when the plans come together." Jeff getting 1.1 thousand likes. Okay, Johnny's. I'm not purposely trying to mispronounce that. I think it's right. Kajani's Top Gal says, "J.K. Rowling is a homophobic queen. Getting 3.7 thousand likes. Let's see here. Oh yeah, Miss Peterson, or Jordan Peterson's daughter, Michaela, says, quote, I love that how cool you are on top of writing Harry Potter." In 4.5 thousand likes, I'm not sure why that was hard for me to read. Definitely need more caffeine this week. Jay says, quote, "Yeah, smoke 40 of those every day, drink at least 5 drinks, don't use that seatbelt." That's pretty cruel, getting 763 likes. So actually, yeah. It's a couple of memes of Black Snape there too. Yeah, of all the people that should have been cast for Snape, they definitely should have used the Darth Vader guy. I forget his name or the actor, but yeah, he actually looks close enough to the original Snape. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see how many other courts around the globe follow. But let me know your thoughts, because as always, be fascinated to hear what you have to say. Other interesting political news: you now have a majority of Americans supporting the deportation of all illegal aliens. Now, this comes with thanks to Libs of TikTok, in which she says, quote, "New CNN poll shows a majority of Americans support deporting all illegal aliens. Don't let Democrats tell you this wasn't what the people wanted." And, well, I thought this would go more viral. It got about 554,000 views and 27,000 likes. Here's the CNN, which we might lose a couple brain cells when we're watching this because it's CNN, but we shall endure.
Deport all undocumented immigrants. Voters favoring the government trying to deport all 11 million of them. Back in 2016, just 38% of voters wanted the government to try to deport all 11 million undocumented immigrants. Compared to where we are in 2025, 56%, the majority. The American people have come a long way on this issue, much closer to Donald Trump, and I think that's a big part of the reason why Americans are increasingly saying the country is on the right track when it comes to immigration policy, and why Donald Trump's net approval rating on that issue is in the positive.
Which, a lot of people also critiquing Trump, saying, come on now, you only got to find out amount of time. Why aren't you deporting more? I was going to say, andale. Now, going to the comments, one of the top ones comes to us, I'm a little disappointed. The alleged planet of memes, or memes, I say that because, once again, no meme. Nevertheless, it's alleged planet of memes. It says, quote, the majority of tax-paying Americans are completely done with our money going to illegal immigrants, getting 362 likes, which... one of the reasons California is perpetually bankrupt, the resource allocation, a lot of it's going to people who don't pay into the system. Same with New York. You also have Barefoot Pregnant saying, quote, poll shows the public supports deportation as priority, getting 3 likes. Paul Zupa says, as people have spoken, deport all illegals, getting 52 likes. Let's see. You have Steve. We'll just point all the other cool names. You got Steve. Nevertheless, says, we want due process, you dipshit. We get you're obsessed with deporting people, but they should be given their day in court before being shipped to prison for life for us being here, getting 18 likes. Well, you also broke the law just by coming here, but yeah. Matt Van Swol says, this is a massive shift between 2016 and 2025. What could have occurred during that time period to such a huge increase in sentiment towards removing illegals? Yeah, leaving that border open and all the criminals coming? Yeah. Can't help but think that's a contributing factor. Oh yeah, first response, massive illegal immigration, giving freebies to them, getting 5 likes. Yeah. I think in New York, what were they giving, like $1,500 a month just for, like, in value in terms of free rent? While most people struggle to pay rent? Yeah. Mike Lee says it's time, getting 356 likes. Florida 1 says, quote, we voted for deportations and closing the border. Why is it so difficult to CNN to understand? They don't take the exit poll surveys, or did they take the exit poll surveys, which showed how many Americans wanted border closed, getting 42 likes. Rolling down more. Alert says America has woken up, getting 92 likes. Let's see here. You also have, I don't know why screenshot there. Alpha Liger saying, quote, what's funny is that you'll find naturalized citizens like myself strongly support deportations. Why? Because I went through the process and didn't skip the line. Yes, we are very pissed that the Democrat administration basically says, screw you for going around and doing it legally. Game 49, so get 50 likes. Yep. Let's see. Yeah, you have a couple AI pictures of Trump playing the fiddle or the violin. Just violin being labeled Democrats. Yes, Alpha Liger saying, quote, I've yet to meet an illegal green card holder, permanent resident, or naturalized citizen who says, yeah, give illegals more rights than us and more money than us. Never. Getting 12 likes. So yeah, massive support. We'll see what kind of massive numbers actually happen in terms of deportations. Again, it's between 12 and 20 million illegals here. We're going to need it's good that he's getting rid of the most dangerous first with the gang members. So the Democrats are working hard to get them back here. But yeah, let me know, of that 12 to 20 million, how many realistically do you think Trump will be able to get it out? Will he declare a national emergency, have the military to start to chip in more? Or what are your thoughts? As always, be fascinated to hear what you have to say. Now going over to the business blunder of the day, you have power banks being recalled because, whoops, they might burst into flames. Now this comes to us thanks to the United States Consumer Product Safety Commission, perhaps the only useful government website. Granted, it's a very low bar. Now they say, quote, Castley recalls wireless portable power banks due to fire and burn hazards, which I'm going to say, I don't know who's in charge of marketing for the aesthetics of this product, but talk about simplistic, boring design. Nevertheless, they say that, quote, the lithium-ion battery in the recalled power banks can overheat and ignite, posing a fire and burn hazard to consumers. This affects not just one or two, 429,200 units. There's quite a few to say the least. Now, they say, quote, this recall involves KC PowerPod's 500 megawatt hours portable MagSafe wireless phone charger with model number E33A with KC written on the body. Here, if you just look at all the fine print, it should be the first line item. When you look at the back of it, it says, quote, model E33A. Now, they say the case is also engraved on the front of the plate and the side. Model number is printed on the back. These are pocket-sized power pods capable of various devices being powered. The pods were sold in various colors and prints. The pods measure 3 inches by 2 inches by half an inch and weigh around 3.2 ounces. Now, this is the downside of lithium-ion people don't talk about enough. Remember, do not throw these in the trash bin, or if you're British, the dustbin, because, yeah, it's pretty volatile for an energy source, and, yeah, you're not supposed to do that. Now, they, again, say, quote, do not throw lithium-ion batteries in the trash. In general recycling stream, they say that, or use it in recycling, they could actually cause environmental hazards, including bursting into flames. Take it to a proper recycling outlet that takes lithium-ion recyclable batteries. Now, they also know that consumers should immediately stop using the recalled wireless portable devices and contact Casey for a free replacement. To receive the free replacement, consumers should go to the firm's website and fill out the online form and submit 2 photos. One should be at the front with the word recalled on it written in permanent marker. The second photograph should have the model number, which is located on the back. Upload these photos to the company's website. Consumers should immediately dispose of the power banks in accordance to local and state regulations. Proof of purchase is not required for the specific recall. Casey is contacting all known purchasers directly. Unfortunately, they are not ahead of the issue in terms of this case. The firm has received 51 reports from consumers of lithium-ion battery overheating, expanding, or catching fire while they're charging their phones, resulting in 6 minor burn injuries. Not the best. Now, they say these are sold online at getcasely.com or amazon.com or other major e-commerce websites from March 2022 to September 2024 for between $30 and $70. Jeez Louise, that's a pretty premium for a product that might inadvertently kill you. Now, they say these are imported by Casey's of Brooklyn, New York, and they're manufactured in China with the recall number 25-277. And yeah, that's, again, the downside of the proliferation of these, just so many of these power banks. Some of them are not as best as the rest, and they're quite hazardous. And even worse in this case, people are actually getting hurt already from the recall, so they didn't get out ahead of it. Silver lining, I suppose. You always want to say the glass is half full. Silver lining, no one's passed away from this recall, or, no one's been detrimentally sent to the hospital, and, like anything like that. But still, I'm not sure who's in charge of the quality assurance department when, again, it's an extremely energy dense, great thing. There's a reason we use lithium ion in nearly all electronics, but also it's pretty hazardous. Got to make sure you're actually manufacturing it in a safe way. So, gotta say, Casey's, I'm not sure who's in charge of your quality assurance department, but they certainly were sleeping on a job. So, I have to say, Casey's, you are certainly the business blunder of the day. Thank you, everyone, for taking the time to tune in today. Again, try to get 5,000 subscribers by the end of the month. So, if you click that button, I greatly appreciate it. Also, give me a thumbs up, thumbs down, or comment. It's a great way to give me some additional feedback, letting me know how I can make the show better and better. Lastly, don't forget to take time to tell your family, tell your coworkers, tell your friends, heck, tell your enemies, tell anyone, everyone. Just stay safe and fight the good fight.